How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Adrock, and I'm back with another Freelancer breakdown, this time featuring Pup. Pup is adorable! Oh my god, look at the puppy! I got my hand! Acting. Applause. Thank you, thank you. Actually, let's be honest. Pup is fantastic. He is the most adorable thing that's also the most dangerous thing in Atlas Reactor. If you want to find out what's under the hood, stay tuned for the ability breakdown as well as some thoughts and comments about Pup and his tactics. Speaking of abilities, Pup's first ability is Mega Bite, a blast phase 0 cooldown ability which will chomp at an enemy dealing major damage. You will also recover health per enemy hit. You'll gain 10 energy per enemy hit. Modifications include Bloodhound, a health increase per enemy hit. Rabid, which when you use Mega Bite will increase the damage of the next turned Mega Bite by actually a pretty decent amount. Bite and Run, which will reduce the cooldown on Parral Protocol by 1 turn when Mega Bite deals damage. And Tasty Target. Enemies that are hit are revealed until the end of the turn. Pup's second ability is Pounce, a dash phase 2-turn cooldown ability which will charge at an enemy, automatically chasing the target and dealing major damage. It will ignore cover, and you can also jump to allies. You will gain 12 energy if you hit your target. Modifications include Playtime, which will increase the range. Feast, which if an enemy hit by Pounce dies, Pup will gain health at the beginning of the next turn. And Rush of Blood. Pup will gain health upon hitting an enemy. Pup's third ability is Waxies, a blast phase 4-turn cooldown ability which will latch onto an enemy, dealing direct damage to them, revealing them, and forcing them to chase you during your move phase. You gain 12 energy if you hit an enemy. Modifications include Retractable Leash, which will increase the range. Tracking Chip, which will reveal a target until the next turn. And Wear Out, which will slow the target for the next turn. Pup's fourth ability is Parral Protocol, a prep phase 5-turn cooldown ability which will gain Pup invisibility and might for 3 turns. Using an ability will remove the effects at the end of that turn. You gain 10 energy upon activation. Modifications include Amped Up, which will gain energized for 3 turns, and using an ability will remove the effect at the end of the turn. Dog Shelter, which will gain shield until the end of the next turn. Caught the Scent, which will your first attack out of stealth will reveal the target until the end of the next turn. Hunting Dog, which will go invisible and then dash a short distance. And Single Minded, you gain unstoppable for the turn. Pup's final ability is Subwoof, a blast phase no cooldown ability provided you have 100 energy, which will unleash a giant subwoofer dealing pretty great direct damage to enemies and scrambling them until the next turn. You obviously, again, need 100 energy to use Subwoof. Modifications include Supersonic, which will reveal enemies until the end of the next turn. 211, which adjacent enemies will take 10 additional damage. And Acoustic Distraction, which will gain invisibility until the end of the next turn. So you know how I said in prior videos, I love Zuki and I love Asana. I think in each section I'm just finding a new character to play with more and more and enjoying them. Pup is definitely that new flavor. He's my new love. I love it. He's great for pugs where you typically can't count on constant great cooperation, and he can synergize well with characters like Dr. Finn or Rampart to hunt down and or gang up on a Lancer respectively. But unlike many Freelancers who have natural synergies in their kits, you only really have one possible combo ability, and you have to think about where you're going to go when you use it. Ultimately, Pup is great for players that like to go alone, lone wolf, and honestly, he has to be shoehorned into a team to really make him work. So keep that in mind when you pick your team comps. With the right mods, he can actually be very self-sufficient, which makes the whole lone wolf mentality pretty successful. For a short-range Freelancer, Mega Bite has high damage ability and can often scare the bejeebus out of a lone backliner, forcing them to either blow an escape or drop their current target to deal with Pup directly. Bloodhound is my preferred mod for solo play, but the rest are really just as viable, as a hard-to-kill Pup is a dangerous Pup. Rabid is fantastic as a follow-up if you can guarantee the next hit next turn, and Bite and Run can get your Parral Protocol up faster, which helps play mind games with the enemy. And Tasty Target can be very useful if you know you're chasing a slippery target that likes to go invisible like a Nyx, or someone that likes to use like Smokescreen like Celeste. Pounce is bonkers. It's a mid-range jump that deals high damage and ignores cover and moves to an ally. It only has a 2-turn cooldown, and that's before any modifications. What the crap? Its biggest downsides are that you must have a target, which makes it really inconsistent if you play with or against a spread out field, and it will auto-follow your target, which smart players will actually lead you down a very dark and dangerous path if you're not careful. To be fair, comboing Pounce with Woxies or Parral Protocol often means you can successfully get off a Pounce with the majority of the time. Playtime's extra range by itself patches a pretty big hole in Pounce, but Feast's next turn has a really big emphasis on the last hitting and kills, where Rush of Blood really gives you a fairly consistent source of healing. I prefer Rush of Blood, but just like Megabyte, all three of these modifications here are very viable in most playstyles, so really, it's pick your poison. Woxies is PUP's only real team synergistic ability. Where the rest of his kit only really benefits himself, you can set up some trap movements or ensure follow-up attacks for next turn. For example, landing a Woxies and walking them right into the dead center of the big one from Zuki will either guarantee some massive damage or burn a dash move. If not, you can further isolate your target if you're just going on a lone rampage, and if you use it from stealth, can disrupt and irritate your target. Apparently, the laws of awesome are inverted on Woxie's mods, as each one is alright. Retractable Leash will add meager range. Tracky Chip can be really useful and open up point mods for a harder mod. And Wear Out can make your target limp around for a turn and make them an easier target. I mean, some people actually do condone not pulling out modifications for an ability. And at least from my personal experience, I think Woxies might be one of those cases. Parral Protocol turns PUP into a typical D&D style fantasy rogue, which is actually a pretty fun little play on the whole backstabbing when your backstabber is ripping out your femur for a pat on the head. Just like any other form of stealth or invisibility, you will be briefly revealed if you take any damage, and Parral Protocol ends when you use an ability. Why is it so hard to say? Take in consideration that it only lasts for 3 turns. Well, only lasts for 3 turns. Turns PUP into Jaws, essentially, where your enemy is just worried if they're treading the Robodog-infested waters. It's pretty awesome to play these mind games with them. Amped up, I really enjoy to just add a little more good vibes to your attack with the Energize, but to be frank, I probably should have used another mod. Dog Shelter's shield is pretty cool if you know you're going to be spotted, or use Parral Protocol as a quasi-escape a la Nyx. Caught the Scent will reveal them, but this should really be taken if you plan on going solo and you can't rely on your team to help reveal an enemy, or if you just really aren't confident that you can always land a subsequent ability. Hunting Dog should be the most people's choice, as it essentially turns Parral Protocol into another dash, but its 3 mod point cost can really cause people to think twice, since you got to give up something to get that possible dash. Single-minded is okay for Unstoppable, but I feel like, honestly, there are better choices between Hunting Dog and Dog Shelter and Amped Up. Now, I don't care what anybody says in this game. Subwoof is the best pun, hands down. Dr. Finn ain't got nothing on this. With a diameter range almost as large as Quark's, Subwoof's upper range damage is considerably strong, and its scramble side effect tips it to being a fantastic lifesaver for the next turn if your team is running low and the enemy team is getting a little too cocky. Since most PUPs will use a might booster before the skill goes off, you end up with some obscene damage, and PUP is treated almost like a surprise hand grenade. Supersonic will reveal enemies for an additional turn. Okay. But honestly, why take that? We could turn it up to 11 with extra damage. It seems a little weird to get extra damage subsequent, like to the adjacent tiles, but really, that makes this ability almost as strong as Nyx with his ability. Acoustic Distraction is also really great, as it'll send PUP back into the shadows to create even more terror and really should not be overlooked. Finally, for Catalysts, I keep forgetting to put this in some of the abilities, but here for PUP, if you're using Prep Catalysts, I prefer running Critical Shot just in case I can't combo Parral Protocol into Subwoof. I have seen some PUPs run Turtle Tech for safety, but this is one of the few times where I would stress damage over survivability since I personally run Bloodhound and Rush of Blood mods to keep me fighting. For dashes, I love Fetter. It has a decent range with a large AoE root. This can either ensure a follow-up or help an enemy teammate disengage, something I think that PUP generally lacks. This helps kind of shore up that shortcoming. I've seen some PUPs use Fade. I feel that the range is too short though, and most clever enemies will often use an AoE that's not dependent on direct sight to sniff you out. For Blast Catalysts, honestly, here it's dealer's choice. You can use Brain Juice to reduce Woxies and Parral Protocol to keep fighting, but I generally stick with Second Wind. Halfway through a match, you might find yourself in need of a little break after a long chase. Just, turn a corner, pop Second Wind, and a turn or two later, pop back into Stealth, or jump on someone to resume the carnage. And really, that's it for this week's Freelancer Breakdown, this time with PUP. If you guys like, please leave comments or anything else, anywhere you find this video. I love hearing the feedback. I will take it all into consideration. We'll see what happens in future videos. I always want to make these better for everyone that watches it. So until then, watch Quarter Up, watch /Yell, watch when I stream on twitch.tv/Adrock Draws, and at Twitter @Adrock Draws, because, you might find out that I'm giving away some codes or some really cool stuff. Who knows? Until then, I'll see you next time. Peace.